Okay, so this will be another episode of the Ziggurat of Ur series, my origin story. But it will not continue from where we stopped. What I will do now is very shortly discuss one aspect of my life, so it relates heavily to the origin story. And I spoke about it in the past many times, but I think it's a good point in time to actually mention this issue again, because it casts long shadow over my life, but also over the earth. Since long ago, several years ago, I understood that one of the predicaments of my life is that I'm secretly accused of all sorts of crimes, but no one ever tells me anything about it. And there are all sorts of investigations and perhaps even trials in all sorts of I don't know what kind of courts can actually conduct trials without the defendant even know that he needs to defend himself. And in any case, I understood very well that it puts me in kind of a peculiar position, because the police, used this kind of investigation as an excuse to torture me, and although the court, in my divorce trial, or now in the criminal case of the ridiculous criminal case that I'm under arrest for 7 months for presumably for a very naive Twitter. But of course, this is all manufactured by the Israeli intelligence, and I understood it using divinations, but also using logic. And in my own investigation, I could actually deduce many of supposedly the nature of these crimes. But presumably I shouldn't speak about it, because you know that there is in Israel, the law system of Israel, and many other places, they use the ancient Chazal law of "En Adam Sam Atzmo Rasha," which means that you cannot you cannot be accused and sentenced and found guilty of a crime if the only thing that actually the only evidence is your own admission. The admission is actually very ancient law, like thousands of years ago, Jewish law, and it's still used in many places. And rightfully so, because you know the problem with admissions. So in Israel, it's used to say that you need dvar ma nosaf, which means that you need some kind of a shred of evidence in addition to admission in order for it to be enough to actually convict you. But the problem is that this dvar ma nosaf, kind of a shred of evidence, can also be what they call prat muhman, which in English I would translate as to a hidden detail, which means kind of a detail from the investigation that you couldn't have known, presumably, unless you are the person that committed the crime. This is, it's incredibly problematic in the case of a person like myself. That I use divinations, but I also use logic, and people just assume that I have no brain at all. I don't know why. So if I just say, understand, the nature of some of these crimes, presumably it puts me in a place that I can be convicted for this crime, which is ridiculous. One such crime, not one, but a series of crimes, is presumably that I raped Titans and actually got them into pregnancy. One case is Sivan Ritzman, but there were others. Of course, all of it. I never touched Sivan Ritzman even with a nail, and everyone that actually accused me of rape is just plain lying. I didn't have sex with them at all. Certainly did not put them in pregnancy. This was all just lied of the Israeli intelligence. And there are several major issues here. First, of course, no one actually told me that there is actually an investigation, because if actually I was investigated, I could prove that it's not true, in a minute, because, certainly it doesn't make sense. I can supply proof that alibis that I was actually in another place, very easily. Of course, maybe they have videos, but you know that they have clones in Israel, so the videos means nothing. So, there is no proof, but yes, still investigation presumably still goes on, which is ridiculous and so anti-democratic. And it puts me in such a bad place, because I'm mistreated in other, trials because of this. and of course tortured by many people, and deprived of help that I should have given by foreign powers that that they don't want to give me this help, presumably because I'm a rapist. There is so many more layers of cruelty with this regard, because there is no baby, there is no child. Presumably they actually delivered the child, because of otherwise there is no proof of it. And presumably I'm the only one that can actually make them pregnant, and because male Venusians, they do not arrive from Venus starting the 70s or the 80s for all sorts of reasons. Maybe we'll discuss this in another series. What you get from Venus is only wizards, which males, females that change their penis to male. And presumably I'm a unique Titan male, even though I'm not Venusian at all. I was born in Earth, I'm cherub, a different species, and this could be actually verified using very basic microscopic tests that I'm not a Titan and not an Homo sapiens. Very simple tests can prove it. But presumably, if they are pregnant and they had babies, and of course, it was demonstrated that I can actually produce babies because I have two daughters that, everybody agreed that are mine. Or in Nila. So these women, should have gave birth to babies, but there are no babies, and every child that or a baby that is presented as evidence is certainly a clone that changed its form, and this could be verified very easily using the iris and cornea tests that all of you should be very know about it since long ago, because I speak about it so much. I speak about it for years now in this channel. It can be demonstrated that the child is not really a child, but a shapeshifter. This can be done. Just check the iris and the cornea, and you will get a result of 20 years old person, and not a child or a baby. Moreover, it should be said, just to clarify, my neurons cannot be used the same way that sperm is used by freezing it and then using it in vitro fertilization. It's impossible to do it. I can put a cherub female in pregnancy if I'm having sex with her. I can put a Titan female in pregnancy if I'm having sex with her. I can put a human, a Homo sapiens female in pregnancy if I'm having sex with her. Yes, this is one of my special abilities. But in all cases, I must have sex with her. And I understood it long ago because of all sorts of divinations and all the logic. But this was actually became much more clear when I started to conduct experiments in the last 7 months and until now. Because I understand that when the neurons are outside my body, they do not rest like sperm. And when they are in freezer, they do not rest. On the contrary, when they are in the freezer, they are much more active. And they are doing all sorts of stuff. So by the time they enter the presumably the in vitro body, it's not the neurons that came out of my body. It's kind of a different robot with all sorts of different characteristics. So it will not, certainly this will not produce a viable baby. Maybe some kind of a monster, or most probably nothing we are of it, but maybe a kind of a natural abortion very quickly. Because the neurons have changed. They've seen all sorts of stuff. They will try to produce, I don't know, maybe bugs or worms or whatever. My robots cannot be frozen like sperm cells. It's just, they will be much more active, in freezing environment, and will create all sorts of stuff, and this is not a way to actually, put a Titan into pregnancy, and also not a cherub female, and also not, Homo sapiens female. So they couldn't, even actually, got a sperm for me, using, maybe blowjob or thing like that. It was impossible. The turkey, cold turkey, or whatever it calls, beef jerky, whatever, the blowjob when female, put a sperm in kind of a condom inside the throat. Something that intelligence services are doing for time to time, certainly Israelis that are the most disgusting of all. This is impossible. You can use it for other purposes. Of course, the robots, are very valuable and they can do amazing stuff. And I'm like, what I do now is actually, I mean, to place many of these my ejaculations inside of like, storage for later usage, but not for the purpose of creating babies. It's impossible to create babies from it. Maybe monster, but probably just nothing or natural abortions. Of course, it can be used for other purposes, or for research, or for energy, which is another important subject that I will discuss in another time. But I can only put a female, again, a cherub or titan or like Venusian or Homo sapiens female into pregnancy if I'm having sex with her the same way that I've had sex with my ex-wife. I mean when I put it like twice in pregnancy. So if there was no rape, how could it's possible there is a baby? And if you say that there was a rape, so why can you just accuse me and conduct an investigation? Because of course it will not stand like in even the shortest investigation, because I will have like alibis that we say that I'm not the one in the video. And also there are no babies, because if there are babies, either they are just human babies that this could be proven very easily, or these are titan babies, but not real babies, but shapeshifters, and this could be proved very easily using the iris and the cornea test. The most, of course, why am I a second-class citizen, like a subhuman citizen that with none of them, the judicial system does not apply to me. You could do anything you want to me, and I will not be, I don't even have the opportunity to defend myself. And this can take place for years. And this could greatly, hurt me in other trials, or, just when the people don't want to have any relation with me or to help me. But why, you have, even in, like in Spanish or Portuguese Inquisition, you couldn't, accuse someone without his knowledge. So why is it the case for me? Why? A person that was actually born in Israel. But even if I weren't, why do I not deserve, like, the legal procedure of any other person? And also, why people abroad do not understand that if a person is denied of the procedure, it will most certainly be used against him by his enemies to defame him and to create like false impressions on him. Because if he is not like him, if the judicial system does not apply to him, it's so easy by his enemies to actually, say whatever they want. So this person is, is so, susceptible to this kind of like, dying projects, painting projects. Why do you not understand it about why? So yes, this was important enough to say it, and its story relates to my life, to at least to the last 4 years, but probably more than that. So this will be the second, normally the third chapter of this Ziggurat of Ur series. And I promise that, in about 15 minutes or so, when I will continue with my clay, I will hold another episode, the fourth episode, which will be in which we will continue from where we left. The Vechoropoulos family in the 1960s. Batya, Yaakov, Michal, and Israel.